morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another day or another edition of Choppin It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. What a day it was at the Garden last night. That's where we're going to begin, no doubt about it. The NBA, a full slate of games. Every team played. There was 15 games. I can't talk about them all, but I will start at the Garden as the New York Knicks continue their winning ways at the Garden. Oh, they talk about home cooking. Home cooking is good for you. I tell you what. Listen, I've argued with several people that Carmelo is still a top 10 player in this game. And it's games like last night that makes his case for being top 10 player of the game. Now, don't get me wrong. In regulation, the last shot he took, he could have found Porzingis down at the bottom of the baseline. There's no guarantee that Porzingis would have made the shot. And it wasn't like he was having a spectacular game. But Carmelo went for the shot, and he came up short. But again, Carmelo is still a top 10 player in the game. His stat line was 35 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. He played 41 minutes. But when it counted most, he made the big shot in overtime to seal the deal. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. For me, it was more than just winning the game for Carmelo by making that winning shot in overtime. I asked you Knicks fans, Carmelo fans, and hell, those NBA fans that just follows all teams. When was the last time that Carmelo hit a game-winning shot in the final seconds? It's been a long time. And I'll tell you why. Because he's never been rested going into the fourth quarter. He's logged a lot of minutes on average in the last couple of seasons, and fatigue would always sink in. And also, being the only guy on the team, he had a heavy workload. You know, this year might be the first time he doesn't see as many double teams and definitely triple teams because of the growth of Porzingis, the ability of Derrick Rose. So he's not seeing as many double teams, and he's definitely not seeing triple teams. And I bring that up because that's wear and tear on this guy. You know, because one thing about Melo, he goes to the basket. He plays hard. He plays strong. You know, so that takes wear and tear on him. So come down to the final shot, he's usually off the front end of the rim because of fatigue. You know, so it was very good. In my mind, it was very good just to see him be in a position to win the game in the final seconds on a jump shot because he's missed those opportunities in the last several years. So that was good. But this was a game that I thought the Knicks had to have coming out to break Thanksgiving. I thought they needed to protect home court, especially in a home-and-home series. Now they go back to Charlotte tonight to play Charlotte. You know, the one thing you didn't want to do was lose momentum, lose this game, go to Charlotte, and put pressure on yourself. But I'd say a good win, solid performance by the rest of the team. And I'm going to say something, man. This bench, right before our eyes, is getting stronger. I mean, they're coming together. They're gelling. I like how Hornacek used Noah. He didn't force him into the action. He gave him 18 minutes. He had 8 rebounds, 6 points. Herger Gomez is getting more and more comfortable. Kuz, he only had 2 points, but you can see he's getting more and more comfortable. Brandon Jennings being the floor general of that second unit. Holiday, he's coming up. Kyle O'Quinn, he's coming up big when called upon. And Derrick Rose with a solid performance of 16 points, I believe it was. Courtney Lee with double digits. This team is coming together. But I want to talk about Porzingis as well. You heard me say this time and time and time again on this show. The only person can stop KP, Porzingis, is Porzingis. I don't want to hear about he won't get the ball with Melo and this and that. The offense got to go through him, da-da-da-da-da. Someday it will. But right now, until that day happens, if he wants it to come to him, he has to stay on the court. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. We need him. He needs to grow, but it's not going to happen sitting on the bench. I continue to say, defense is played with your feet, not with your hands. Porzingis, you have to be smart on defense. We need you, babe. Plain and simple, we need you. But we need you to also stay out of foul trouble. But what a game. Kemba Walker, I call him a pest because he's good. He's good. Is he a top 10 point guard in this league? If someone said he is, I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't argue. Would you take him over Jeff Teague right now? Yes. Would you take him over Johnson Petrovic? Yes. Would you take him over Derrick Rose? Perhaps. Yes. I mean, think about it. What point guards out there is ahead of Kemba Walker? Yeah, sure, the usual suspects. Curry, Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, John Wall. I may be forgetting some people right now off the top of my head. Do you take him over Reggie Jackson? Reggie Jackson's nice, but yes. Do you take him over Rondo? Yes. Michael Conley, that's 8. So that's 8. Tony Parker, I'll take him over Tony Parker. I mean, so I may be missing some right now. I'm going off the top of my head, but I only can name 8 off the top of my head right now. Dennis Schroeder, yes. Jeremy Lin, yes. D'Angelo Russell, yes. Ricky Rubio, yes. I question, is Kemba Walker a top 10 point guard out there? If you say yes, I will not argue with you. I'm scanning the league right now, top of my head. I can only name 8 right now that I would put in front of him. There may be others, but off the top of my head, that's what I come up with. 8, George Hill, yes. I put him above George Hill. And he provided a little razzle-dazzle towards the end in regulation, going to the basket with a layup, getting fouled, hitting the free throw, descending into overtime. He comes up big. Like I always say, stars need to play like stars when stars need to be stars. And that was Melo last night. KP didn't have it going. He came up big for us, man. He came up big for us. One-on-one, Carmelo is still a nightmare. He's too strong for small forwards, too quick for power forwards. He's a nightmare. As long as he's disciplined with his shot selection and don't force it up, yeah, he's as good as anybody, man. Great win for New York. Man, I know it'd be a lot to ask for. We're 8-7, 6th place in the Eastern Conference. Let me repeat that. 6th place. Here it is, 2 days after Thanksgiving. When was the last time the Knicks was in this position? It was a couple of seasons ago, and it seemed like a long time ago. So kudos out to Jeff and his staff. Looks like every facet of the New York Knicks team is beginning to gel. Whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the players. It's a good look for the Knicks. Moving on, Golden State, Los Angeles had a home-and-home series. Golden State went out to Los Angeles, continued their winning ways, their dominance against the Lakers. The Lakers staff is depleted. No Randall, no Nick Young, no Russell, no chance for LA. But I say to LA and their fans, don't be discouraged. I mean, injuries is part of the game. Let's just hope that they can bounce back and get into their winning ways. Kudos for Walton. Luke, he's not giving up. His team is still well prepared. They have made just a run at it. In the first half, they made it a pretty tight contest. The second half, Golden State just came out and was a little bit too strong. All right? Cleveland, they continue their winning ways, their dominance. Kevin Love, he continues his hot shooting. He led them with 27 points as they just crushed the Dallas Mavericks, 128-90. Detroit with an upset win at home over the league-leading Los Angeles Clippers. That loss now drops them to second place with the win for Golden State. They're now in first place out west. So good win for Detroit. It's tough to win on the road. I get that. So, but let's just look at that going down the line. Russell Westbrook. I had a conversation with a guy on the job yesterday. He said that this wouldn't be a good game, OKC and Denver. I told him it would. I had no idea we're going to overtime. I had no idea that Russell Westbrook would be 36 points, 18 assists, and 12 rebounds. They asked the great Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson, who was the last person to average a triple-double. Will Westbrook averaged a triple-double this season, He said if anybody is capable of doing it, it is Westbrook. But he said because he has no help, he's going to do too much and he's going to burn out. He doesn't think he'll do it. Let me tell you something. That's true for most players, but not most players is Westbrook. This guy here looks like he can play 8 quarters and back-to-back nights, man. He doesn't ever stop, man. I tell you what, man, there needs to be more Westbrooks in the game. I haven't seen a player like this since Iverson, man. And I'm not talking about from a production wise, but just the way his motor go, man. You know, I've heard some former players, whether they're Hall of Famers or not, talk about, man, one thing about Iverson, man, he never stops, man. He said you hit him harder, hit him again, and he still come at you, man. And that's Westbrook, man. Westbrook never, even in a timeout, he's still going at it, man. This guy never sits down. He never quits, man. He has no fear. Before the season started, I talked to some of the pundits on some of these talk shows on NBA radio, and I told them that Westbrook is my favorite for MVP. They said there's no way you can give it to a guy whose team don't finish 4th or better. Well, I tell you what, man. At the rate he's going, and possible with a triple-double for the season, there's no way you're going to deny this guy, man. This guy is coming to play every night. Doesn't matter who's in uniform. It doesn't matter, man. This guy comes to play every single night. They're missing a wing player. There's talks about Rudy Gay. But I tell you what, man. Dallas, with that awful loss to Cleveland last night, they're in last place in the West. Dirk Nowitzki just getting back. This probably will be his final season. If Dallas does not ride this ship out, does Cuban start all over? Does he strip the team down? Does he does the unthinkable and trade a guy like Harrison Barnes, who he just signed in the offseason? If so, look for December 15th to be Christmas shopping time for GMs around the league. Because a Harrison Barnes could be a good fit from a team like OKC and this next team I want to talk about. And that's the team in my backyard, the Atlanta Hawks. They've had an awful loss one day last week, and it can't get no worse than the loss that they had last night to the hands of the Utah Jazz. 95-68. Just horrific, despicable performance, man. You cannot come out the gate and average 17, 18 points per quarter. Schroeder, you have to do a better job of running an offense. You have to do a better job of getting guys easier shots. If it's a thing of guys just missing open shot, well, guys, you got to knock that down, man. You're talking about being one of the top 4 teams in the East. That's not top 4 East performance right there. We're too late in the season for a Utah team to beat you like that, man. And I tell you what, man. It's because they have no real wing play, man. I don't think Schroeder's the answer right now, or let's put it this way, he's not ready. I never was a fan of Bazemore. I think he's fool's gold. Korver is an excellent shooter, but he might be a bench player or a role player at this point in his career, opposed to a starter. I know that Harrison Barnes signed a very lucrative contract in the offseason, but if Dallas decides that they need to strip it down and go through the draft for the next couple of years, as Dirk Nowitzki might retire after this season, then I would go after Harrison Barnes. If you don't think Rudy Gay is the answer over there, I like Rudy Gay. I think it's a cheaper option. Harrison Barnes is playoff tested. He's a champion. He would fit nicely over there. He's a smart player. He's a good system player. In fact, he's having a great season in Dallas. I mean, what he's doing in Dallas is what people envisioned him when he came out of college. He's averaging like 22, 23 points a game. So I believe he could be a good fit with OKC or Atlanta, because Atlanta's in need of help. In need of help. They are. They need a wing player. And OKC could use a wing player to replace Kevin Durant. So look for December 15th. That's the day players can be traded that was signed in the offseason. We'll keep a watch for that. But Harrison Barnes is a name that comes to mind for me that could be a fit around the league from a lot of teams. All right, moving along. Boston continued their road dominance as they went into Boston. and just beat up on the Celtics. They're now 9-0 on the road. That West is top heavy. The first three teams, man, it could be anybody's. Anybody could be in first place at any time among those top three teams. I think only a game separates first from third, and a half game between each, and that's Golden State, Clippers, and San Antonio. So keep an eye on that. That's probably going to be a fight to the finish. All right, I think ultimately Golden State will have the number one seed. Okay, so we talked about Westbrook, we talked about San Antonio's win, we talked about Utah against Atlanta. So there was a full slate of games on. Tonight there's 5 other games on, so it should be fun to watch. Don't forget, I'm gonna switch gears. College football rivalry week today. One of the big games to look out as is Michigan goes into Ohio State. Should be one heck of a game. Really, one heck of a game. Anytime you have Alabama and Auburn facing off, there's always a good game, must see. So, then you have other games like, I believe, Kansas State, Georgia Tech, USC, Notre Dame. So there's going to be a lot of these games. Florida State. There's going to be a lot of these games. South Carolina, Clemson. A lot of these games that these teams, regardless of record, where they stand or whatever, they're just fighting for pride. Just fighting for pride. So it should be good games on today. And then you have the big boys tomorrow, the NFL. I'm going to tell you something. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, man. But, with losses to Minnesota and to Washington on Thanksgiving Day, I'm going to say this. At 4-6, I think it opens up the door for Carolina to make a run. I really think so. I thought Carolina was dead a couple of weeks ago, but I think they got a little life left in them. I really think that the door has opened up for them. If they can go on a roll, they go out to Oakland this week. I have a feeling that they're going to pull off the win against Oakland this weekend. Carolina. Look for Carolina to pull off the upset in Oakland this weekend. Remember, this is still a 15-1 team from last year. A couple of injuries early on in the season to Cam Newton, got them off to a shaky start. But it seems like they're healthy right now, and they're playing some of their best ball of the season. Look for them to come out and be aggressive against Oakland today. You got Kansas City and Denver. That's going to be a good game. Monday night, Green Bay. Go to Philly. Should be a good game. A lot of good games on hand. So we'll talk more about it tomorrow. All right. But again, a good slate of rivalry games on today. And for those who's keeping track, I had mentioned the young lady that I grew up with, and we spoke about, as family member, her son, Brandon. I saw some highlights of him at his school. I can't remember the name of the school. It's in North Carolina, but I'll bring it up the next time around. He had the hot hand the other night, scoring 23 points. So you got a brother and sister combination that's in the college ranks that making names for themselves, man. So we'll pay more attention to him. That's a good job for Brandon out there, holding it down for his team. So it's really a good look for the Watts family. I say keep up the good work, keep up the dedication. I'm proud of Rhonda and her husband. I mean, this is really, really a nice thing for parents, man. It really is. So kudos to their children, Brandon and Stephanie, for being the best that they can be in the college ranks. Hey, listen, until tomorrow, I see you guys in 24. Yeah, y'all have a safe Saturday, a blessed day, and keep tuning in, man, and keep sending me texts, comments, and that sort of thing. I believe me, I read them all. I really do. I read them all. I try to respond to as many as possible. So hit me up. And until tomorrow, man, peace and blessings. This is Chopping It Up with Ramel. Remember, no notes, straight from the throat. Peace. Chop.